In a completely unexpected turn of events, it seems like Hamilton and Mercedes don't look eye to eye as much as we thought, as the new contract discussions seem to have hit a potentially immovable obstacle. Hamilton apparently sent an offer that Mercedes simply have to refuse because it's shocking to say the least. Could this be a turning point in the 7-time world champion's future with the Silver Arrows? And what will it mean for the team in general? In my view, it's only natural that Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes would want to maintain their partnership. However, Hamilton's recent demands came as a bit of a surprise to the Mercedes team based in Brackley. Despite the mutual positivity, Hamilton has been officially asked to tone down his expectations if he wants to stay with Mercedes. Let's not forget, we're talking about a man who claimed 6 titles for the team and spearheaded Mercedes to 8 successive Constructors' Championships. Having him as a representative would undoubtedly be a massive boon for Mercedes. Yet, it's easier said than done, and despite the fact that Hamilton's financial demands for the upcoming season might not be too hefty for Mercedes, this is the first time Hamilton doesn't hold the leverage in the negotiations. And we have to consider Russell here, who is widely expected to become the next champion at Mercedes if they can deliver a championship-worthy car. Therefore, it appears Mercedes has identified this trend and are now bold enough to suggest Hamilton reassess his role and accept he might not be the main star of the team anymore, a rumor hinted to be the key obstacle in their contract discussions. But such rumors were swiftly dismissed by Hamilton and Wolff, with both suggesting the contract is merely a formality at this stage. From their perspective, they are just minor details left to iron out. Wolff even went as far as saying that Hamilton's new contract is now days away, but this was stated around 2 weeks ago, which does raise some eyebrows. Soon, I think we'll be talking more days than weeks. He's the most important personality in the sport. He's so multifaceted, not only in racing but also off track. We need to keep in the sport for as long as possible. It's going to happen soon and we're talking more days than weeks. From a team's perspective, Lewis and Mercedes have gone back a long time. He has never raced for any other brand than Mercedes. We both joined the team in 2013 together, and from a professional relationship, we now have a friendship. It has been a wonderful time. However, even after the Canadian Grand Prix, Hamilton hasn't officially committed to Mercedes, a delay that's lasted long enough to raise questions about Hamilton's primary issue with Mercedes, his ambassadorial role. In my opinion, Hamilton demanding a hefty paycheck of £50 million for the upcoming season is an amount he could have earned this year had he been in direct competition with Max, given that £35 million was a guaranteed sum and an additional £15 million served as a bonus. And honestly, we can't blame Mercedes for offering a 1-year contract with an option for second. Last 2 years, they have been lagging behind, and Hamilton's demands are costly considering their position. If they were still leading the championships and winning races, I dare say such demands would be approved or extended to 2 to 3 years. But last thing you want to be doing is spending huge amounts when you are barely touching the podium up until recently. However, Hamilton now wants all £50 million guaranteed in his 1-year contract, implying that if he chooses to race beyond 2024, negotiations will have to start all over again. This is a condition that heavily favors the driver instead of the team. The 7-time world champion has hinted at a possible extension of his F1 career, which again raises the question of whether he's done with Mercedes and might chase an 8th record-breaking championship with another team like Ferrari. However, after quickly squashing these rumors, it appears that Hamilton's significant demand from Mercedes, specifically a 10-year deal worth £20 million annually after his retirement, is causing a major roadblock in their negotiations. But this does seem like a no-brainer for Mercedes, right? I mean, after all Hamilton has accomplished for them, one would think he'd be hesitant to turn down an ambassador role. Greats like Mika Hakkinen have served as Mercedes' ambassadors, and David Coulthard continues to do so for Red Bull. It seems fitting that this role would be suitable for Hamilton. However, oddly enough, Mercedes is reportedly unwilling to shell out £200 million for a 10-year commitment in ambassadorial terms from Hamilton. According to the reports, Mercedes is not prepared to entertain any kind of ambassadorial request. This suggests that the Brackley-based team is not ready to consider Hamilton as their ambassador yet, since his role in Formula 1 is not over and they aren't keen on planning for a future beyond his retirement at this point. If there's one thing we know about Hamilton as an F1 driver, it's that he usually gets what he wants, one way or another. I believe the team would be unwise to let such a talented driver slip through their fingers and not employ him as an ambassador. But with the British GP just 2 weeks away, Mercedes is hopeful that Hamilton would prioritize his driving terms over his ambassadorial role, as it would provide him more motivation for the future seasons. Hamilton's main gripe with the team seems to be the lack of responsiveness when he felt they should have been, and their decision to build the car in the wrong window, a topic he frequently addressed in the media. Nevertheless, Hamilton remained loyal to the team during its lowest phase when the no-pod side-pod design was introduced and the overall philosophy was incorrect. Now, with high hopes of catching up to Red Bull in the near future, Hamilton knows his value and the significant contribution he can make, which is why his demands might not seem as extravagant as some might argue. What's interesting is that Hamilton's demands are really for a good cause, reflecting the kind of person he is. Earlier this year, rumors swirled that he asked Mercedes to support his charity organization Mission 44 as a condition of their ongoing partnership. He also spearheads the Accelerate 25 initiative, a project aiming to have at least 25% of Mercedes' new hires come from a minority background, and plans to launch a motorsports scholarship program at the Royal Academy of Engineering in partnership with his Mission 44 charity. We should mention here that he is a constant fighter for human rights as well, so if anyone really deserves that amount of money in the Formula One world, that is Hamilton. Clearly, these two entities, Hamilton and Mercedes, are an exemplary match, with their actions harmoniously impacting both on and off the racing circuit. However, there comes a point when one side might want a little more than the other is willing to provide. In this scenario, it seems Hamilton may need to loosen the knot and accept that, for the first time, he doesn't hold the upper hand in the contract negotiations with Mercedes. Speaking about it to Sky Sports, the 7-time world champion has been candid about it. He said, "We had a good meeting just recently. They are very complex contracts. It's not just a simple driving contract. Right now, I'm planning to be here and racing for a decent chunk of time. You've just got to explore all avenues in the sense of how you can continue to expand your partnership with such a great organization," further asserted the Briton. Look, it's clear that Hamilton is undoubtedly one of the best drivers in the world, if not the absolute best. His achievements with Mercedes are matched by very few drivers with their respective teams, with perhaps Verstappen as an emerging contender. However, there comes a point when dwelling on past achievements no longer serves a purpose, and it seems that Mercedes is now focused on the team's future, a vision that doesn't currently include an ambassadorial role for Hamilton. But Hamilton's demands are transparent and unmistakable, and it's clear from my perspective that he will either get what he wants, or the team will be compelled to consider alternatives for the car's development from 2025 onwards. The question now is whether Hamilton will stay with Mercedes in an ambassadorial role post-retirement, or if we'll see him leave the team in a lurch, or perhaps even retire from the sport altogether. Only time will provide the answers, and we might get a hint as soon as the Silverstone race. What do you think? Will Hamilton stay at Mercedes, even as an ambassador? Let us know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.